Hey guys and gals, welcome back to a Vinny Built Structures video. Wow, it's been a long time since I said those words. Anyhow, this video is going to be on the scratch build of the depot for Matt Brower. It is quite long. It's about 50 minutes, including the intros and stuff like that. But I think it's going to work out very well because now I'm at the point where I have to wait for John Tanzillo to do some project for me for this model before I can continue. But we made pretty good headway on this one. Anyhow, if you'd like to see what I've done so far, watch the video. We'll be right back. Boom! This Vinny Vid production brought to you by Yankee Dabbler. For all your model railroad needs, check out Yankee Dabbler. Don't forget, 7% discount with BNSF 6951. And by Highways and Byways, awesome street graphics for your roads and streets on your model railroad layout. If you guys are looking for sophisticated model railroad electronics, Logic Rail Technologies has what you need. For a 5% discount on certain items, use code BNSF 6951. Alright guys, now that my house project number 1 is completed, I can start doing the scratch build for Matt. Now this is going to be a train station, and the dimensions are going to be 100 feet in length, 20 feet in height, and 35 feet in width. This is a station that he found that he likes, and so I'm going to try and replicate it for him. I will be using TC Group windows and doors, and we'll continue on from there. I think I have a drawing of this, and I will show you the drawing of what my plans are for this building. Anyhow, with all that being said, stay tuned, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this piece out right here to make this piece more manageable to work with. I'm probably going to do that off camera because this is a fairly big piece of plastic, and I'm already sitting on top of my keyboard of my computer. So with that being said, we will be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut out all the pieces I need to put this building together. And we're going to start off with the 2 strips down here on the bottom, the 2 long walls, and then we'll do the top walls. No particular reason why I'm doing it that way, just wanted to do it that way. I did change the blade in the knife. It's a brand new blade, and so here we go. We'll make this even more manageable by cutting this last piece off here that we don't need, and we're going to cut it right on the line. Alright, now I will not throw this piece that I'm cutting off. That will not go in the garbage. It's a fairly big piece, and I probably could make another small building out of that. And if you guys don't know how I do this, I do what they call scribe and snap. And you go through 4 or 5 cuts, and then you should be able to take this and just snap it off, just like that. So this piece here is good, save that later. Now I forgot to mention that I am using the siding called Novelty Siding. It's almost exactly the same as what's in the picture, and I will post a picture on what the original looks like. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now is cut 2 long walls out. And again, I'm going to cut right on the line. And I don't know if you guys remember me telling you, if you cut on the line, then all your pieces need to be cut on the line. If you cut below or above the line, then each piece has to follow the same cutting rules that you've been using. You can feel, when you get in there, you can feel it start going over the outside pieces. You can feel the roughness in the blade. Alright, so that's enough where we can do the snap. And that's 1 long wall. Now we'll do, I always leave a space in between so I don't have to worry about the thickness of the blade. So again, we're going to cut this one right on the line. May seem like an extra work, but it is well worth it. Right on my line. All right. And here we go again. Alright, now this piece here, obviously I'm not going to use, so that's going to go in the trash. Alright, so now we'll cut out the next one. I know this is the boring part about doing builds, is doing all the cuts you need to do. And again, we're going to be on the line. And I do use my mat as a guide. And there's nothing wrong with that. Alright, I think that's good. And snapperoo. And there's our two long walls. Now we'll cut out the two side walls. I'll use my shorter steel edge. And like I said, I could use my grid on my mat to make sure my lines are straight, and these look pretty darn good, I tell you. And again, we're going to cut on the line. The next part is the part I love, cutting out the windows and doors. John Tanzillo is doing the corbels for me, because this has got some really cool corbels on it, and I want to include that in the build, so it kind of represents what the prototype looks like. And there's one. Now we'll do the same thing on this one. And the next step I will do before I do any other cutting, other than cutting the peaks of the roof out, I will be doing a mock-up, as I always do with my scratch builds, just to get an idea of what the proportions look like and make any adjustments as necessary at that point. So, alright, we're already through. Alright, so this piece here, again, I'm not going to throw away. So now we got all four walls. I'm just going to cut the peaks out of the roofs, and we'll get on from there. And again, on the line. I think that's strong enough to come off. There you go. Very nice. Alright, that's one. And we just got to do that on this one, and we'll be good to do a mock-up just to get an idea of the proportions, like I say. Alright. Alright, there you go. 4 walls. All cut out. Hey! Alright, so next step is I'm going to get some of my masking tape and kind of put this together and see what it's going to look like. And if it looks good, we'll continue. So stay tuned and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, this is my original drawing of the building that we are doing right now, and it is actually to scale. I did make a change right here where it has 15 feet. I didn't think it was going to look good, so I changed that to 20 feet as you saw when I was cutting the plastic out. These are the placement of all the windows according to the drawing I could see. This is the back side. It's only going to have 2 freight doors. This is the front side. It'll have a couple of windows with an entrance here and a ticket window here and a freight door here, and then the ends will get a couple of windows. These are all TT group windows and doors that I'll be using. So with all that being said, let me show you what the mock-up's going to look like. Alright, so here is my mock-up. I think it looks good. I think the proportions look very well. I think everything's going to fit in there very nicely. So the next step is to take this apart, sand down all the ridges that I got from my cuts and stuff like that. And I also have to do my roof panels because John, like I said earlier, is doing the corbels for me, and I have to make sure that they fit properly. Anyhow, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and take this apart and start doing some sanding. And like I said, there is a front and a rear to this build. So we have to keep in mind that what we do as far as our drawings for our doors and windows will be backwards, because we're going to do it on the back side where it's flush and you don't have any of the ridges to deal with, so you'll get a pretty good cut. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to sand down all the ridges here on all the walls, so we get a good fit when we're ready to start putting this puppy together. And I'm just going to be using a sanding stick right now. This has got a rough side and a smooth side. We'll do the rough side first, and then we'll hit it with the soft side. And I'm just going to give it a couple of strokes like this. Turn it around and do this. And then on the edges, and basically just run your finger over it. Make sure you don't feel a ridge. If you don't feel a ridge, you're good. So that's one piece done. And now we'll do the second piece. Doesn't take very much. You just want to get it smooth. If you have that ridge on there, you won't get a good clean connection between your parts. And don't forget, you need to do the ridge on here and the bottom on this one, so all the surfaces. So I just go over the whole thing, basically. All right. You can actually hear when you're hitting that ridge part. Alright, so that's all my walls that are cut down, smoothed out, and now comes the fun part of drawing all the doors and windows. So, with all that being said, stay tuned and we will be back in a minute. Alright guys, as you can see, I have all the windows and doors cut out for this project that I'm doing for Matt. This is the front wall here. This is the entrance to the waiting room, so there has to be a ticket window right about here. So I got to figure out how to fashion that and make that work and fit into this build. Now, this building also has, it is a train depot, and I think it's abandoned actually, but it's going to have these corbels right here. I don't know if you guys can see those. Yeah, put one in my hand here and show you guys. You guys can see that? Well, John Tanzillo was doing the 3D print for me, and I had just sent him a picture of this end wall, either one of the end walls, they're the same, and asked him to go ahead and make me some of these corbels. So he just sent me these test ones, and with the picture that he had, he came really close. But now what I'm going to do is I am going to send one wall to John and let him do the correct angle and all of that stuff, so I can have there's probably going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's probably going to be a total of 14, maybe 16, depending on how I space them out. This wall is 100 feet. I mean, I don't want to put on 2-foot centers, because that would be like 50 of them in there, and I think that'd be overwhelming to have that many in there. So I'm going to do what I always do, and when it looks right to me, that's the way I go. Anyhow, with all that being said, that's as far as I can go on this build right now. I can't paint it, I can't put it together, I can't do anything until I get these corbels from John Tanzillo. So, because I'm going to end this part of the video here on this build, I do have a mail call. And let's see what the mail call is all about. Alright? So, that being said, we'll be right back. Alright guys, if you remember, a few months ago, one of my very young friends passed away. Still don't know why or how or what from, but I decided that I was going to dedicate part of my new section of layout that I'm building to honor him. So one of the mountains that's going to be on is going to be called Mount Bingaman, and also I am going to put what's in this box up there also. So I already broke this open just to see if it came in, and it's got some bubble wrap on it. And this, of course, is from Yankee Dabbler. Your one-stop shop for train stuff. Alright, we'll go ahead and cut that open. Now, the reason why I got this kit is because Container Man 68, Roy, told me that there is one of these up in the area that I am modeling. So I decided to go ahead and get it. And I think they should not use so much bubble wrap. Alright, so it is the Glacier Gravel Company. And it is going to become, let me get this up a little bit. It is going to become Bingaman Gravel Company. And it's going to be a showcase up on the upper level. And it's going to be, as soon as you walk into that room from my living room, it's going to smack you right in the face. So, Joe G, I need to talk to you if you're watching this video. Please get in touch with me. I need to ask you for one favor. Anyhow, with all that being said, I think that this might be a short video for this week. I'm not 100% sure yet. I know I've been doing stuff out in my backyard ever since the rest of the stuff has been done. I've been adding on to it. But anyhow, that's a whole new story. So anyhow, with all of that being said, I'm looking forward to building this. I had this kit a while ago. It's a fun kit to build. I don't think it's going to have rail service, because that means I'd have to cut some of the track that I already put down to put a turnout in there. I don't know yet. We'll see. Anyhow, this is going to be fun. Maybe I can get some of my layout stuff done on this video also. So this might be a anything type of video. Alright, all that being said, we'll call this good for now. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye for now. Alright guys, what I decided to do is make a mock-up wall to send to John Tanzillo so he can do the corbels a little bit better. He was really close with the ones he did with just a drawing. So I actually made a duplicate of this wall out of regular plastic instead of using the stuff I'm using to build. But so I gave it to him, and I glued a piece of plastic along the top here to give him the roof line, so he's able to get the adjustment perfect. Anyhow, I went ahead and put this half of the building together over here, and now we're going to do this half over here. And I'm using my squaring jig. I love this tool. Thank you, Roy, for getting this for me. So I am putting these side walls over the front wall. Now remember what I said, if you do it on one side, you got to do it on the other side, otherwise your building won't come out straight. So let's get this going here. Now I usually use siding strips in the corners of the building on the inside. But I'm doing this one a little bit different. I'm going to use this angle, number 292 angle, and put it on the outside, and it'll act the same as the brace I'm going to put in the middle. And I just do this for strength. And on this particular building, putting these corner pieces on will enhance the look of the building. So, that being said, let's go ahead and do this. Get my glue started like I tell you guys all the time. I do this so I don't get a big glob right out in the beginning. And I always glue towards the inside of the structure. And sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. Alright. And I got all these magnets that are going to hold this all together for me. Alright, so I got one magnet pushing against the back wall here, and I'm going to put another one here to push it up against there, so there's no chance of it moving without me moving it myself. So there you go, and this corner looks really good right here, and we're going to let that dry up for a little bit. So while this is drying up, there's really nothing else I can do except hang out and wait. So we'll be back here in a few minutes. Alright everybody, now I have my two halves glued together, and these corners come out absolutely fabulous. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see all that, but they come out nice, square and beautiful. I love it. Anyhow, the next thing we're going to do is connect this half with this half. And we're going to do this side first, since it's already up against the block right here, and then we'll be able to get a nice clean edge on that one also. So that being said, let me prime up my glue here, and we'll put the glue on this side. Okay. And we'll put him up against there like that, and we will check to see if they're nice and clean right there. And now we will put a magnet right there. Take a look at it this way. Make sure we're good, and it looks really good right there. Alright. Let that dry up, and then we'll put the final piece together right there, but we'll take the whole building and put this up against the wall so I can have another clean corner. And then once all that's done, we'll go ahead and put this angle on the corners. Basically, once this couple pieces get glued together, I can paint this building. And again, I have no clue what color I'm going to paint it. I have to call Matt or get in touch with Matt and find out what color the prototype is, and maybe I could match it. So with all that being said, let's wait for this glue to dry, and we will be back shortly. Alright guys, I went ahead and glued all the walls together, so this is one complete structure right now. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check for square, and so we know that this corner right here is square. So I'm going to take my little 90-degree tool that I have, which is a very handy little tool, and I will put it on the opposite side, and let's see how square we are. I'm not going to push on any extra energy. I just want to just barely touch it, and you know what? That is like totally square. Now, to double check that, what I'll do is I will measure from corner to corner, kitty corner, on both ways, and those measurements should come out to be the same. Now, there's two ways. I can use the metrics, or I can use the American. So I don't know. Let's see which one is actually easier to read. And this side we have just barely 8 inches. Now let's turn this around this way, and we'll do this corner. And what we have here is just barely 8 inches. Wow, holy mackerel. I'm going to say that that's good. Now, as I was building this model, I'm saying to myself, okay, so let me get this off of here for now. So this is the entrance to the lobby, and then you have a freight door here. And now this is what I see in the pictures that he sent me of the prototype. I could not see the back, but he told me in the back there was 2 other freight doors. Okay, so I built it the way he told me to build it. Now I'm thinking I might want to make the roof removable on this. I don't know, but if I do, then what I want to do is actually separate the lobby from the freight area. So I went ahead and built this little wall, and as you can see, I put a hole in there for a door. And what that'll do is I will put this halfway up the side here, and then up halfway up over here, and now I have a waiting area. And to top that off, I do have Mr. John Tanzillo gave me these a while back. These are actually benches for a depot, and I put them in there, and actually it doesn't look too bad. But the only problem I got to do now is I got to figure out how to build the ticket window, both inside. So if I'm going to do this, I have to build the ticket window on the inside also, and I already put the walls together, so it's going to be a little bit harder to cut out. Anyhow, this part of the build is ready for primer, and I'm also going to prime this, and I'm going to get ready to paint this one also. I'm not quite sure about the color. He told me to paint it the same color as I did the food facility for him. I don't know if I want to have 2 green buildings on the layout. Again, it's not my layout, so. Oh yeah, one other thing before we actually go to paint, we're gonna have to put the angle pieces on the corners. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and that's just going to be figure out the size or measure the size, cut it, and just glue it to the corners and be done with it. And this is just to give it a little bit of extra detail, because if you look at these corners, other than them being cleaned up, they are perfectly, I mean, you can't tell there's a seam right there or right there. I'm actually using 2 cameras, guys, so I've got to show both. Can't tell the seams, that's for sure. I like this jig. This jig works very well. Now I'm probably going to put some sort of cross bracing in here, so it'll hold the walls from being too flimsy, even though I'm using 40 thousandths or 1 millimeter, I think this is 1 millimeter plastic. I want to make sure that they don't collapse. So with all that being said, let me get these corner pieces on. I don't have to show you that. That's just a simple thing of just gluing them in place. I'll be back in a little bit. Talk to you guys. Bye. Alright guys, I'm letting those corner pieces dry up before I actually cut them right down to the roof line. But this is going to be the foundation part, and so we're going to go ahead and cut that out, and we'll get this prepared, ready for paint also. So let's see. I think we're pretty good right there. Now, let's see. I think we're good right there. Alright. And I'm just going to start with some easy strokes. This styrene is I think it's 1 millimeter thick, which is good for the stuff that I build. I'm just going to keep doing this till I feel like I have enough cut, and then I'll just snap it. This piece that I'm using right now is 12 inches by 24 inches. And if you guys are going to be doing scratch builds, that's the way I would go. I wouldn't go with the smaller sheets, the 6 by 12 inch sheets. These sheets here, if you lay out your project properly, you can get a lot of stuff out of this one sheet of plastic. In N scale, I can make almost 3 buildings, depending on their size. This should snap. Okay, so there. Put this other piece on the side here. And now we just have this one line to do. And then we'll see how the building is going to look sitting on there. Alright, so now I'll just go ahead and switch over to my shorter steel ruler. And we'll go ahead and do him like that. Now I'm going to get this building pretty much all the way done today, except for the corbels. I'll be sending that thing out to John Tanzillo for him to redo for me. And then we'll finish this up. So there may be a part 2 with the reveal. And let's see. Hopefully, I would like to get it all in this one video, actually. But I don't think that's going to happen. You should be able to snap that. Just look at that. Alright, so now, again, I always tell you guys that when you do cut, you always wind up with a ridge where the cut's been. So you just take your emery board and just give it a little sanding along the edge. You just feel it. If you don't feel your fingernails catching on it, like that. You guys can hear that. Well, that's the ridge I'm talking about. You shouldn't be able to feel that. And the reason why you get rid of that is because it'll give you a much better fit. So, okay, that feels good. That feels good. And also check the opposite side. Make sure there's no ridge on that side. Alright, so basically this guy and the building, well, not really, I'm going to do something special here. I'm going to go ahead and just give this a little roughness throughout the whole thing right here, just to get some of the gloss off of the styrene. Alright, I'll show you what the next step is going to be. Now I left 25 millimeters along the edges and 20 millimeters in the front, so the building will have a little bit of exposed concrete. So let's get the building. And we'll just put them on here. We're just going to eyeball it for now. And that looks pretty good. And I will make sure that this is square while it's sitting on here. So what I'm going to do next, and I did this in the last build I did for him, is I will put this number 1, what's the number on this guy? Hold on. Number 176. It's a 100,000 by 125,000 piece of styrene. And this is the bag number. And show my other camera the same thing. Alright. So, what I'm going to do is actually glue these down to the foundation and not glue the building to it, but the building will fit over it. It'll be locked into place and should keep the walls square. These walls, I'm also going to put a piece of styrene along the top just to keep the building, the wall from warping. That's what I'm looking for. Alright, so what we need to do here now is make sure the building is square on this piece where I want to go. And like I said, there'd be 25 millimeters here. Let's see. And I'm using millimeters, the metric system, because sometimes it's just a whole bunch easier to read it. And that's 25 millimeters right there. So what I want to do is I want to put a mark on the inside of the building at that mark. Hold it so it don't move. And I'll put a thing there, make sure that's good. And then, like I said earlier, I want it 20 millimeters from the outside. So like right there. I will measure these, but right now I'm just using them as reference points, because these have to be pretty accurate when I put them down. Alright, so as you see right now, I have outline of the entire inside of the building, and I am going to connect all these dots, and we just make sure that we are even. Let's see, let's get another measuring device involved here. We'll do this way, and we'll do this way so I could measure and make sure we got the same. Now don't forget, we're going to the inside of the building, so there'll be another 2 millimeters there. So that'll be 22, and that one would be 22, and that's good. And the reason why I'm doing all this, guys, because I want to, when I paint this, I want to paint it with the styrene strips in there. So, alright, so there's one. Now we know that this one is good, so we'll go ahead and just draw him across. Alright, and like the same on this one, this side has to be 22 millimeters in also. So let's see if that's where we are. And you know what? We're right on the money right there, which is cool. And let's see the one down on this end. A little wide on this one. Alright. And if everything is correct, we should be 25 millimeters here. There you go. So that's the inside wall space of the building. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take these, and as long as I don't obstruct a doorway or anything like that, they will go in here like this. So when I paint it, it gets painted with the foundation. And to me, that's just an easier way to do it without actually gluing the building down to the foundation. And the reason I'm doing that is in case you ever want to put lighting and stuff like that in there, it'll be easier just to lift the building off, leave the foundation on the layout, just lift the building off, drill a hole for his wire or whatever. You know, when you're doing modeling, you need to think of all these kind of things because they will bite you if you don't think of them as you go along. So, that being said, it's not going to make a difference which way this building goes on there. Just looking at my lines right now, and they look good. This wall here is kind of warped. That's why I'm doing this. That looks really, really good. I am very happy with that. Alright, so the lines all look good. I just need to figure out where I'm going to put these now. Once I mark out where these are going to go, then this building will have a specific way to go back onto this foundation. So we want to do from here to here, and then from here to here, and then possibly in here, and then that whole side and that whole side. So these marks here are what I'm going to go between, so I'll take this piece and put him like right in between those two lines, and I'll do the same thing here. And then if I want to later on, I could put one this way, but I will definitely put one this way on both ends. So that being said, let us begin this project. And I'll be using my chopper to cut these. I think it's the easiest way to cut them. Don't remember when I changed this blade last. Apparently it's working, so I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, that's one piece. That piece can go there. Let's see. And we'll do this again. From there to there. Alright, so now I have all four of my pieces cut. What I'm going to do is I am going to glue them down, and then I am going to put the building on over them while they're still wet and make adjustments, whatever adjustments I need to make, and then let it set up. So with that being said, let's go ahead and continue with that. I always put my pin back in my glue bottle, save some problems of cleaning it out later on. So here we go. And like I said, I'll be using some of this along the upper edge of the long walls and also on the peak walls, because this will be the part of the roof support. Don't worry if you made these, if you're not exactly right, because even though they're glued down, you can always trim them. And I'll show you, maybe I'll show you how to do that real quick. Even after the glue's dried, you can do it. Alright, this is the last one to go down. Alright, like I said, now that the four pieces are actually glued down, I'm going to take the building, actually going to put the building on there, and any adjustments that we need to make, we will go ahead and make. Alright guys, now that you've seen how I want to get this building down, and as you can see it is pretty much locked down. It doesn't move in any direction. But this wall here was warping on me a little bit, so that's why I put the strip along the top like I said I was going to do. Then I put these strips across to kind of hold it together. There should be no problems afterwards. And also this will give him a place to hang lights if he wanted to. Now I talked about this guy earlier in the video, and I don't know if I'm really going to do it because now it looks kind of ugly. Because I had to cut all these deals out, and I don't like the way it came out. But anyhow, if I were to do it, that's what it would look like. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it. Anyhow, that's going to wind up this part of the video. This is part 1 of the build for Matt Brower. And we're going to wait for John Tanzillo to get me the corbels back here, and then we can finish this in the next video with the reveal. Anyhow, with all that being said, thanks for watching, and as always, your questions, comments, inputs, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all, folks. BNSF 6951 and the Cuz out for now.